Do you use ChatGPT or Claude, or what's your go-to?
I have two. I use ChatGPT and Gemini, both of which I am a pro user of. Yeah, so
Well, of
those are the
course.
only two I really use.
You're not an amateur user. I mean, I know you're a pro user,
right.
but here's the thing. So I don't know if you just got this. I use ChatGPT. That's my go-to.
Yep.
Hey, did you get hit with the try a new personality thing?
You mean, can I try it? Like, did it proactively ask me to use it?
Yeah, so this happened. This is breaking news. It might just be for me because who knows? Who knows? But I wanted to get your take on it. So it just hits me. I open it up in the morning. It says, hey, do you want to try a new personality for ChatGPT? The default is whatever the preset style is. I don't even know what the default is, but you can pick friendly, warm and chatty, candid, direct and encouraging, professional, polished and precise, or quirky, playful and imaginative. So my question to you is, which one do you want?
I don't really understand the distinction between all of those, but
come on, man.
It sounds like the same thing, just with different adjectives. But I don't know. The candid one, I try. So in all the custom GPTs that I have asked it to be candid, right? To not, because what I was noticing was every time I would do something, it would be like, you're so brilliant, you're so wonderful, you're amazing, and
I never would have thought of that.
I'm doing an impression of somebody that only you and I know about. You're beautiful. You're so great.
You're amazing.
Amazing. And so anyway, so I ask it to be more candid. Like I don't need it to sugarcoat everything. And that works. So I would probably pick the candid one, I guess.
I would have picked quirky for you. I would have thought that I would have thought that you would have gone.
Well, here's the thing,
down the quirky road.
So I built a custom GPT I call it the social late nights show, because what I wanted to do is tell me jokes. I like for it to tell me topical jokes.
Yeah.
So I treated it. I built it a little bit like a late night talk show monologue. And so I built all that. So I always whenever I'm like want to joke about the news or something like that, I go in and say, hey, tell me what's going on with the news. And it's really quirky, and it's meant to be a little edgy and a little fun. And, it makes jokes about what's going on in the news. And I like that. And so that would, I don't understand how the whole thing would apply over the whole thing, right? Because you want different personalities for different use cases.
I don't know, but all I got from that whole thing is that I'm right. You would have chosen quirky. You are quirky, like your whole thing is, but you want.
Yeah, I mean, call it quirky or
candidly quirky.
Yeah, or stupid, one of the two. I don't know.
And on with the show.
Yeah.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's Polizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome to This Old Marketing, proudly brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. That's right, the HubSpot Podcast Network. Say that 4 times fast. The audio destination for business professionals. And yeah, I'm Robert Rose. And with me, as usual, is my pal, my colleague, and one of the only media guys not making a hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers, Mr. Joe Polizzi.
Yeah, it's getting kind of nuts. We're going to talk about it.
It's nuts.
Let's get nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. This just caught my eye, and I wanted to know if you had a take on Serif or sans serif. Like, did you see?
I posted on this on Threads. Yes, I saw that. I saw that Lil Marco has decided that Times New Roman. Okay, you want to hear something really funny?
Wait. First of all, tell people what we're talking about, because not everybody knows.
Okay, so what happened was this, again, we got lots of breaking news in this show. So this is yesterday, I believe, or the day before at the very longest. The State Department, meaning Lil Marco, basically came out and said that Calibri, which the Biden administration had put in as sort of the standard font.
That's right.
For which by the way is it's the Microsoft version of Arial, is what, if you don't know what Calibri is. And so they made Calibri the sort of default font, a sans serif font, for all documents created in the State Department. And the reason they did it was because it is easier to read for those who have sight issues, or
way more accessible.
Yeah, it's way more accessible than and easier. So Lil Marco, as they are wont to do, basically said that that's a DEI font, which there's so much.
But did he really? He didn't really. Did he really say that?
Like, he did not. He said that he was basically woke was the word that he ended up saying. So
he said the font was woke.
Yeah, I mean, or it was a woke initiative or whatever it was. But he basically said we're going back to Times New Roman. So basically, he had a thing against Calibri and basically he's making everybody go back to Times New Roman. Now, here's the funny part.
Oh, that's not the funny
because it gets even funnier.
There's another funny part. Okay,
there is another funny part. So my wife and I, we have been binge watching Parks and Rec. If you remember that show,
I do.
Very funny show, and we've been binge watching Parks and Rec. And I kid you not, literally last night, to pull my inner Rob Lowe, we were watching one of the episodes, and it's the episode where I can't remember his name on the show, but he's the boyfriend of the woman. I'm not remembering any of the characters' names at the moment because it's too early and I haven't had enough coffee yet. Okay. But he's basically running a campaign for a congressman in the U.S. Congress, and he's in Washington, and he comes out and says, "Hey, everybody, I'm so tired of seeing all of the different papyrus fonts and Comic Sans fonts." He said, "We're going to settle on Times New Roman." It's a whole scene in that how he basically sets the standard. It was like, oh my God, it's literally a comedy show coming to life.
I wonder if Marco saw that episode and was inspired.
Didn't
realize he was watching a comedy show.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, this is a documentary on how to do politics.
Did you hear about it doesn't matter. Now we're going down the rabbit hole. Did you see the JD Vance had a party? He had a get together, and there are a bunch of people invited, and he leads off the whole thing and tells a dick joke. That's how he started the whole thing.
Oh my God.
And the guy that was there that was talking as a YouTuber, he said, "Of course he did."
Yes. Yeah. Right. Of course he did.
Would you expect anything different? It's just like, what is going on with
and they're doing today? And now apparently we're supposed to do pull-ups in our chinos in airports now. So that's the other fun.
I like Scott. I don't know if you follow Scott Bonnie stuff.
Yes, I do.
Scott,
yeah,
beloved Scott Bonnie. He said, "So what am I supposed to do? I'm in my tie and my suit. I'm supposed to be doing pull-ups and sit-ups." And I think that's the picture they showed. Some guy in a suit, like doing pull-ups.
The Secretary of Transportation. Basically, they did a pull-up contest in the middle of Washington Reagan Airport. It was him and RFK doing a pull-up contest. I mean, it's just so idiocracy. It's like you can't even imagine it, right?
I talked to somebody, one of my friends used to work in the government, like pretty high up in the government. And he said, at some point you'd think it's gone so far one direction. At some point you'd think it would come back.
Yeah. It's peak. Just when you think you've reached peak clown show, it goes to another level. It goes to 11.
It's kind of crazy what's going on. But yeah, I saw the font thing and I'm like, that's gotta be the Onion. Like it's got to be.
Too.
And I'm like,
I thought it was a joke.
Oh my God. And then also about adding the gyms at all the little gyms. So they already have little playgrounds for kids at the airport. And then the article was talking about, we're going to add these little areas so that adults can work out too. And I'm like, that's got to be the Onion too.
Yeah.
What?
We're going to add a bench press next to the Cinnabon. Yeah.
It was like big gym next to little gym. I'm like, okay, this can't be right. All sorts of bad can happen from that. So yeah. How was your week?
My week was lovely. My week, I had a lovely week. It was just chock-a-block full of client work. So which I'm so grateful for. And so just, yeah, all good. How about you?
It's good. Things are good. My goal is I'm starting to work on the next novel again. I know
Oh,
a lot of
nice.
people have been waiting for that, but I like for the first time I actually said, okay, now I'm going to do it. I got a lot of things off my plate. I'm going to get into working on the second part of The Will to Die. So we'll see. It's just a different, as you know, it's just a different kind of writing. I have to get my brain in a different place altogether to write fiction.
Totally.
Versus, I mean, and I'm not discounting writing nonfiction or informational, like tutorial type information that I generally write about. Here's how you deal with this or entrepreneurial stuff. It's just a lot easier for me to write that stuff.
Oh, well, of course.
I can come. Somebody says, okay, write a 500 word, 1,000 word, 1,500 word article. Give me an hour or two, and I'll have something that works pretty well.
Yeah.
If you want me to write a chapter of my book, a fiction book, I've got to get into the zone.
Yeah.
To do that.
Well, it's in so many ways. It's because, I find this with by the way, I've been spending my time, my off time, as it were, playing with my music, which we'll talk about at some point.
Which we're going to talk about. I'm looking forward to it.
But it's the guardrails are off, right? You don't have it. When you're writing nonfiction, there are guardrails. There's research. There are trends. There are things going on in the world that sort of keep you in a direction, right? So, and so it's easier in a way because you can follow those guardrails. When you're writing fiction or writing music or just creating art in general, there's nothing from taking you off to another rabbit hole that you can go anywhere. And so you really have to be like you said, in that zone. And I mean, it's a lovely zone to be in once you get there, but it does take some time.
It does take a while. My friend is working on finishing his novel, and he got to a certain point and then redid like the whole back end of the manuscript that he was working on. And I said, what are you doing? Like, why can't you just finish this thing? And he said, have you ever done Rubik's Cube? I said, yeah, I've done Rubik's Cube. It's like you have all the sides complete, but on one side, there's one place that doesn't look like you have one color that's off.
Right.
That's how it felt. It's like I had it so close, but it just, so you had to go. Now he's in a good spot with it, but I'm like, I get that analogy.
Yeah, 100%. I get that
just
analogy.
So close, but you just don't feel comfortable with it.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Anyways, but we got a lot to go through. We're going to talk about a lot of these creative issues here today. So we are
going to do that. Yeah. So we got a good show. Basically, we're going to start with some, again, breaking news. Quite literally this morning, as we went to literally this morning. Literally. That's Rob Lowe from Parks and Rec. So Walt Disney apparently is going to invest $1 billion into OpenAI and license characters through Sora. That'll be interesting. We'll talk about what could possibly go wrong with that. Paramount has upped the ante on the big news, which I used as the joke on the intro, basically for the bid for Warner Brothers Discovery up to $108 billion. We'll talk just a little bit about what's really going on behind the scenes there. And then we'll talk about Australia. Guess what? They just banned social media for kids.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's weird. And then we'll, after we pay some bills, basically, we will get into a couple of things. I'm going to talk at some length. In fact, I'm going to sort of give up my rant and rave for this episode, so I can talk a little bit about the process behind my launch of Lyla Ray Hightower, my character, music.
Wow.
And I'll tell a little bit about my backstory and how it came about, and walk you through and let you listen to some of the process about how I create the music. And I hope it's interesting. I really do.
I'm interested, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So
I figure some other people will be interested as well.
Yeah, I think so. If nothing else, it'll be relatively entertaining, and you'll get to hear a little bit of the music that I've been creating. And then obviously I'll point you all toward the Spotify and Apple Music links where it all lives. And I can talk about some of that. Boy, what a challenge it is to be a content creator on the music side. It has been a fire hose of challenges and learning, and it's a really interesting space right now. Anyway, then we'll get to winners and losers, where Joe will just basically talk about the loser that is Salesforce. boy, is there a lot to talk about there. And then Joe will have some commentary on, yes, of course, because we can't get an episode out without talking about Apple and Disney.
Apple and Disney. I'm feeling like it could be any day.
It could be any day. It could be any day.
Someday
I'm going to collect on that steak dinner, but yeah.
Well, it's hard to because
I know.
When would
we never set a timeline on it.
Yeah, I just said it's going to happen. I didn't give it. It's been, by the way, 2026 will be 13 years.
I know.
13 years I've been talking.
Exactly.
That's terrible. I really need to get a life. That's what that.
Well, or we need to pronounce you the loser at some point. I mean, I suppose, in the world where, in the multiplexes of universe, right? In the multi-universe world that is our universe, there is a universe where Walt Disney did get purchased by Apple, but I don't think it's going to be in this.
But I'll tell you what, even when I'm like, there always comes a time when I'm like, I'm ready to give up and I'm completely out and I'm ready to say that you won this bet.
And they dragging me back.
There's news. I'm going to break this news today. There we go.
All right, let's get to our first story here, which is, of course, breaking news that it is Walt Disney is going to invest $1 billion into OpenAI. This courtesy of Axios. Basically, the story opens up with the headline, Walt Disney to invest $1 billion in OpenAI and license characters for Sora. The story opens up by saying Walt Disney has reached an agreement with OpenAI that will make the company the first major content licensing partner on Sora, OpenAI's social video platform. Why it matters? It's a huge endorsement of AI-created content from one of the biggest media companies in the world. As part of the agreement, Disney will make a $1 billion equity investment in OpenAI. It will also receive warrants to buy additional shares. Under the arrangement, social videos can be generated from a set of more than 200 animated masked and creature characters from Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars. It also gives users the ability to use hundreds of additional Disney animated props like lightsabers. Users can use the visual images of the approved set of Disney characters and props to make stills or short-form videos designed to live in social media. They can't use any voices associated with those characters or make any long-form videos with Disney's intellectual property. As part of the agreement, OpenAI will commit to implementing a responsible measure to further address trust and safety. Yeah, okay. And then including age-appropriate policies and reasonable controls across the service per the statement. The article goes on to talk about the hopes and dreams of the agreement and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But this is just this completely surprises me. I don't know what your take on this is, but this is like, I can't believe Disney's doing this.
Well, the first thing is, and you and I talked about this right before we got on the air, was I thought that ChatGPT was spending $1 billion to Walt Disney.
Right. That would be what you would normally see, right? Yeah.
This is such a bizarre world that Walt Disney is investing in and
giving them the rights to
OpenAI the rights. So from that standpoint, this is you talk about guardrails, setting the guardrails, but also at the same time marketing. So I'm kind of torn on this, Robert. I really don't know how to feel. It seems like if you look at it from a pure marketing play and you give a number of, in this case, I'll just use GPTs, another custom GPTs or whatever the programs are going to be inside OpenAI for people to use and do all sorts of things. I would imagine, just like any loyalty program, the more you use and interact with somebody's brand and story, the better. It could ultimately help Disney and grow their influence, but I did not see this coming. This is kind of a crazy thing. So
I don't
know what they get, by the way. I don't know what Walt Disney is investing. I don't know. Did it say, are they getting?
It did not say how much
percentage ownership.
Of a percentage. Well, they're getting. They're getting
something.
Well, that's a great question. I don't know whether they're getting
equity investment
warrants. They're getting warrants to buy more additional shares. So it seems like they're buying actual shares in the company. Like it's a venture deal kind of thing. Like they're literally getting some sort of. Now, how they've done the class of shares and all what their cap table looks like is like, I mean,
here it is.
That has to be one crazy cap table at this point at OpenAI, because they've had so much investment from so many different people. I can see why Disney's making an investment, right? I mean, given all the press over the last 3 to 4 weeks about OpenAI, it surprises me that Disney would make this. Now, of course, this deal has been in the works for months and months and months. So this, the recent press probably didn't have much to do with the decision here, other than maybe make them feel a little bad about it. But the thing that really surprises me, to your point, is them licensing the characters, because what could possibly go wrong? It's like, have they not seen what happens on social media? The fact
maybe it's better. Maybe it's better because they're able to put as you said before, the guardrails. They put their own guardrails into the OpenAI system, and maybe that gives Disney a little bit more control.
A little bit, but it's going to be easy. I mean, it's going to be, if you can do anything, then you can do something. You know what I mean? It's like people are super creative when it comes to that kind of stuff, and making, creating prompts that will meet the safety guidelines. But I mean, I'm waiting. I can't wait to see stormtroopers basically with ice, on their chest, running around taking people out, or or the rom-com with Princess Leia and Luke, or that where they take a Marvel character like Iron Man and have him dancing romantically with Darth Vader. It's like, there will be some creative misuse of this, and so that's the part that really just baffles me, that they would allow this to occur, given their history on how protective they are of their characters. And it's just, boy, this is a risky move.
But it's also another circular deal, and we've talked about these.
Yeah, of course.
Because Disney becomes a major customer of OpenAI, right. And they are now giving this to all their employees to use. And at the same time, I believe that Disney still has lawsuits out against Midjourney and Gemini.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
So yeah, you're right. They've really clamped down on it from that side, but now they're saying, oh, okay, no, we're going to do business with you, OpenAI. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's a little nutty.
Yeah,
it's a little nutty. Well, elsewhere in the media news, what has been really the leading story across so much of what we've seen over the last week, I don't think we talked about it last week. The idea of Netflix coming in to buy Warner Brothers and all of that. It was sort of going on as we were recording, all of the sort of Netflix bid, which came in and sort of usurped the Paramount bid. And then over the weekend, Paramount took the Warner Brothers, Netflix took they basically won the deal, won it. And now Paramount has basically come back and said, that's not fair. And they're launching a hostile bid takeover. And this courtesy of, and so many
everywhere
outlets are covering it. This is, we're doing it from Reuters. So Warner Brothers now, as they say, the fight heats up with $108 billion hostile bid that they're trying to get into. And the article opens up by saying, Paramount Skydance basically on Monday launched a hostile bid worth $108 billion for Warner Brothers in a last-ditch effort to outbid Netflix and create a media powerhouse that would challenge the dominance of the streaming giant. Netflix had emerged victorious on Friday from a weeks-long bidding war with Paramount and Comcast, securing a $72 billion equity deal for Warner Brothers Discovery's film studios and streaming assets, but leaving out news and some of the cable TV stuff. Paramount's latest attempt means to jockeying for its prized HBO and DC Comics. Basically, there's not going to be a conclusion on this in any time, in the next few days for sure. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I have a quick take on this, but did you what do you think?
Well, even when the Netflix deal came out, I see why they want to do it. Access to, some of the best IP. You've got HBO Max. You've got the studios. Netflix is creating more and more content. you could see that, but I thought that it was too unwieldy for Netflix to take on. I didn't want a thing like the AOL Time Warner thing to happen again, and so many things that happen with Warner that just go wrong. I didn't want another thing to happen to Netflix because I thought that got them off their game a little bit. But who knows? We didn't think that they were going to go from DVDs in the mail to what they've done today. So I mean, Ted Sarandos, I think, is the CEO, knows what he's doing. I'd put some trust in that model. What I don't like in the takeover bid, specifically for CNN, is I don't know if you've been following, what that group has done to CBS, but
100%.
I mean, you're basically taking one of the most venerable journalism brands it's ever been around, and you just turned it into something different.
Yep.
And I'm afraid that would happen again, and you get more and more of these big billionaire conglomerates that get together that have a certain story that they want to tell. We could kind of see them falling over. Like you could say, oh, there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one. And then I think it's just not good for the American people, honestly, with that. So I didn't want to see that happen again.
Yeah.
What's interesting is behind the $108 billion is a lot of sovereign money, Saudi money that's coming in.
That's the concerning part. Yeah, that's the real concerning part.
You've got some, God forbid, nepotism going on in there. So, yeah, it's concerning. I would like to see both of them shot down, but if I had my choice, I'd like to see Netflix more than the other way around with what Paramount Skydance is doing. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think this was such a genius move by Ted Sarandos. It is. I mean, he has proven himself to be the most capable media, mogul, a modern media mogul, right? That is super strategic and knows all of the right moves to make. Because here's the thing: it's a win-win. If he wins, he basically creates, a media powerhouse. The streaming wars are over at that point. I mean, he's basically, he's got him. He's got all the
because of taking on HBO,
and he can run. And he has said that basically they would run them separately, which would make total sense. It's not unlike when you had, I've told the story before when I basically back in the 1990s when I worked at Showtime Networks, which was then Viacom. And Viacom owned Showtime, Nickelodeon, MTV, VH1, etc. And the goal was, the sort of overall arching goal was to basically capture an audience and have them matriculate through. All of them are different target audiences, right? From you watch Nickelodeon as a kid, then you grow into MTV. Then you went out of MTV and you matriculated into VH1. And then from VH1, you went on. And then on the movie side, you had Showtime, and then you had the movie channel and all of those things. And so you had this portfolio that totally made sense because the Venn diagram of all your target audiences were so separated. It makes total sense for me when you look at Netflix in a similar kind of strategy of building a portfolio where they could literally have different audience types for their different elements of the, HBO versus Netflix versus, it's like HBO goes, that's where their big blockbuster sort of artistic, edgy stuff goes. Netflix is where sort of the pablum, it's just good enough to keep you subscribed goes. Lots of international stuff, cheap, and basically all the way down the line for the different streaming platforms. Makes total sense. Now Paramount's doing the same thing. Right, Paramount would try and do the same exact thing, except the problem I see is literally, they're likely to win. I think because the shareholders are going to see. I mean, by the way, they're throwing money at this, like $108 billion. It's, I mean, it's literally like a small time 7-Eleven trying to buy a supermarket. I mean, it's so crazy how much money they're throwing at this, which is clearly just for buying. They want all of the things. There's a meme going around where they're showing Ellison's is basically the guy from Succession going, "I'm the eldest boy," from Succession.
Yeah.
And so I'm very troubled by who is in that deal, right? The sovereign wealth from Saudi Arabia, the Jared Kushner, all of the private equity firms that are involved. I mean, it's just this panoply of like just billionaire excess to get this ego, trip going for turning this into, whatever it's going to turn into. And CNN is just a puppet in all of that. I mean, CNN is such a small piece of this, but it's I agree with you. I don't like either of them getting it. But if I had to pick a winner personally, I would pick Netflix.
You like Netflix. Yeah. I almost now, after this last week has happened, I almost feel like Netflix knew they weren't going to get it.
Well, that's the genius part of this, right? This is the win-win. I guess I forgot to do that. Yeah. The win-win of this is if he doesn't get it, what he has successfully done is frozen the market for 2 years because he did this, it raises all the antitrust. So they have to go through all that process.
Yep.
So they're going to have to go through all of that. And basically what he's done is frozen them. So nobody else can do anything. And so he gives him a 2-year road to completely, dominate and do whatever he's going to do by, launch a theme park.
Plus they're overpaying. Yeah. Plus they're overpaying.
They're so overpaying.
Obviously.
Yeah. They're so overpaying. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of overpaying, we should probably do our pay some bills here with our ads for this one.
That's a really good lead in. Here you go.
Yeah.
Well, hey there, holiday listener. Hope your eggnog's frothy, your inbox is merry, and your brand voice is seasonally aligned. I wrapped my podcast mic in a big red bow, hung up the metrics with mistletoe, got cookies in the oven and cookies on site. One track's your visit, the other's a bite, 'cause I'm paying the bills with a warm cup of cheer and a suite of new skills. Yeah, I jingle my brand through a content spree. Now my KPIs are lit like a Christmas tree. Oh, I'm paying the bills. Got a HubSpot dash with a peppermint thrill. So don't be shy when the jingle bell pings. That's just the sound of sponsored things.
Hey marketers, using only 20% of your business data is like dating somebody who only texts emojis. First of all, that's annoying. Second, you're missing a lot of context. But that's how most businesses operate today, using only 20% of their data. Unless that is, you have HubSpot, where all the emails, call logs, and chat messages turn into insights to grow your business. Because all that data makes all the difference. Learn more today at HubSpot.com. Are you a creator? Are you a brand? Hey, are you looking for a podcast that matches those two ideas? Well, you should check out Creators Are Brands, hosted by Tom Boyd and brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. Creators Are Brands explores how storytellers are building brands online, from the mindsets to the tactics to the business side. They break down what's working so that you can apply that to your own mission. You can find Creators Are Brands podcast wherever you follow your favorite pods.
Man, yes, I'm paying the bill with a gleam in my eye and some seasonal quill. So pour some cocoa, let the sleigh bells chime. I'm monetized, jolly, and right on time. This episode was brought to you by Joy Jingle Bells and a quarterly content calendar.
I like the quarterly content calendar.
Yeah, that's what I was giggling at. It's a quarterly content
brought to you by Joy Jingle Bells and a quarterly content
calendar.
It's got a little bit of your. Every one of these got your personality in it. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's very funny. I like it better this time than I did the first time. So I have to say this is not my favorite genre, but it's
I know you don't like the Christmas.
No, it's
holiday.
fine. It's just
you're not. Are you're a bah humbug?
No. It's not the bah humbug into Christmas. It's not my favorite genre of music. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It seems easy. I think my favorite so far has been the '90s grunge thing. That was a good one.
They've all. I like a little bit of everything. I mean,
yeah.
I think
we'll kick it up a notch in January.
Have you decided your January?
I have not. I have not decided January yet.
Ooh.
Yeah. Taking requests. Oh. And so here's the thing about requests, because I do get requests. Don't tell me an artist. Tell me a genre. Right. Don't when you send them to me, whether you're LinkedIning me or whatever, emailing, etc. I can't do an artist, right? So because it won't take it. So what I need is a genre of music that you like, that you want to hear. So there you go.
That's a tougher one, because people will say, "Hey, I do like Flock of Seagulls."
Yeah, that's what that's what I get.
Yeah,
that's what I get.
Do something like Billy Joel.
Talking Heads. Give me Talking Heads. It's like, and that's not a genre of music. It's and I can't. I mean, I can, because you're starting to hear a lot of this on social media. You see I saw one the other day, which was Phil Collins as Dark Country, which was interesting. It was in the air tonight, done as Dark Country, and it's basically them uploading this into AI and having the music.
Dark Country, engine. How's that? I want to hear that.
It's pretty interesting. It was an interesting thing, but
I can feel it.
Yeah,
coming in the air tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, stop singing. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Let's do the Australia one before we go on to the big stuff. Yeah,
for sure. So this is a big story that interestingly isn't getting a ton of mainstream media coverage, maybe because it's not here in the U.S. and we're doing pull-ups in airports. But
yeah, exactly. We can't pay attention to Australia.
Yeah, exactly. The headline, this is going to come courtesy of CNN, actually. Millions of Australian children just lost access to social media. I mean, what a headline, right? What's happening?
Where'd it go?
What's happening? Will it work?
Yeah.
And then there's this dark image of a child thumbing his way through a mobile phone.
I can't see my social media.
So dark,
it's dark in here.
Sauron has spoken.
I'm in the dark here.
Oh my God.
Son of a Woman. Great movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm in the dark.
I'm in the dark.
Yeah. Children across Australia woke up on Wednesday with no access to their social media accounts. Oh my God. Under a world first ban designed to shelter those under 16 from addictive algorithms, online predators, and digital bullies. No other nation has taken such sweeping measures, says the story, and the rollout of the tough new law is being closely watched by legislators around the globe. The 10 banned platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, Kick, Reddit, Twitch, and X, say they'll comply with the ban using age verification technology to identify under 16-year-olds and suspend their accounts, but they don't believe it will make children safer. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that it was a proud day. I'm going to try my Australian accent there. It's a proud day for Australia. This is the day when Australian families are taking back their power. This is the worst Australian accent ever.
To our Australian listeners.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Australian
listeners. We have a lot of
Aussies. I apologize on behalf of
apologize.
The show, and to good people everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
They are asserting the right of I can do it. I just need a couple of drinks before I can do the Australian accent.
Oh, that's like your Scottish. That's like your Sean Connery.
The Scottish I can do sober. The Australian and really good English I need to be a little drunk for. Okay. Anyway, they are asserting the right of the kids to be kids and for parents to have greater peace of mind. Albanese told the public broadcaster ABC Wednesday, but he conceded it won't be simple. And then the article goes on to talk about how it's not going to be very simple. And it will be a little, and then it goes through each account and basically talks about how they're going to do the age restriction here. I have to say, CNN definitely took an angle on this story, which I completely it's so CNN-y, but I think this is great. I think this is a really, really good move by Australia. I don't know what you think. I would not have included YouTube, I guess. I would not have included YouTube in that, but otherwise I think it's great.
Well, so the transition is always this is the part that's the hardest, because you're going from people that have access to then you don't give them access.
You're taking it away. Yeah.
In 3 years, this would be a non-issue, because the kids that are 13, 14, 15 would not have had access to social media up to that point. It's the ones that are 14 now that are like, they get up in the mornings like, oh, all my stuff is gone. Now, there has been a little bit of a problem. The article goes on because you've got Lemon 8, which is owned by TikTok, and a couple other ones that a lot of the kids in Australia were going to. And then Australia's got to send a warning out to them. So there's a lot of transitional issues. All that said, I've been talking about this for a long time. I thought I still believe and continue to that social media is a huge problem for kids all around the world. If you look at any research, you've got anxieties up, depressions up, suicidal tendencies are up when people that use social media a lot, especially kids. So anything that we can do, and if you treat them like Australia treats guns, which they went to the, banning guns policy years ago when they had that one really bad incident there, and then since then they haven't had those bad incidents.
That's right.
Who knew that when you take that away? So I think that since they had that precedent, I think they're saying, okay, well, let's try it with this one. You're going to have 6 months of trying to figure this out. Age verification is not an open and shut thing. It's very hard to do it. There's 6 different ways they're trying to do it. They'll figure out the best way. But I think bravo to them. They're going to be a test case. If this goes well, which I think we're all hoping it does go well, if everything goes well with this one and we get some research back and it looks promising, then it'll go on to larger countries and say, hey, maybe we should start looking at that. If Australia can do it, we can do it. I'd love to see it, because it almost seems like in the United States we've given up. We're like, we're never going to get regulation. It's never going to work. These big tech companies are basically running laws through Congress, whichever ones they want to, because they've got so much money. We'll see.
Yeah, right? I'm so with you. On this, it's just for the sheer audacity of it. I absolutely love this, which is, let's try. You know what I mean? It's like it's where we have really lost the plot, I think, in the US, is that we don't even try anymore. We don't, everything is a quote unquote slippery slope. We can't try banning guns. We can't try this. We can't try that, because somehow it's a slippery slope into whatever. And so legislation never does anything meaningful, right? It's all because it's the way things are, and you can't take, Americans have a special sort of a sense of entitlement when it comes to the things that they have, and taking something away from Americans is the most complex thing you can do. And it's so fascinating to me when we, not to get all political or anything, but the things that we allow to be taken away versus the things that we sort of are, that the hills we're going to die on based on this. And social media seems to be one of those hills that we're going to die on, because of, my free speech, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's a little nutty to me. I applaud it so much that the Australians actually did something very much like what they did with the gun ban, which, like, let's just try it. It's audacious. Like, it may not work, right? It may not, and we may not be able to figure it out, but why wouldn't we try?
I know it's not the same thing, but we know a lot of teachers.
Yeah.
And a few of those teachers are going through the no cell phones in class thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who never complains about it? The kids.
Students. Yep.
Who always complain? The parents.
The parents. Yeah.
It's just like,
yep.
There's a whole lot of, and here's another reason why I love Australia. We had friends of ours that just spent 4 years in Australia, and they have 2 young kids, and they moved back here to the United States. And the kids had a very tough transition for homework. So they're getting, in Australia, apparently, at least for them, they didn't get homework because the time after school is when you go outside and you play with other people. You figure out your social skills. You're not working on homework at that time. That's the school time. But you come over here, it's like we got all this homework. It's just, and I'm not saying because it's different in every classroom around the world, but I just thought that was interesting. They have a different outlook on life. I think part of this social media law is because of that. They seem to, I don't want to say they care more, but I think they care more about their kids. This is an act full of love.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely is. So, it absolutely is.
I hope it works. I hope it works.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Yeah. Should we talk a little bit about music?
Yeah. So how you want to do it? You want me to save my my winner and my rant or my rave after you do your
let me do this first, and then we'll do your winner and your rant.
Because I'm looking forward to hearing this. So let's finish
this.
I'll let you take over the comm.
Okay. So so as I've been talking about, this I've been rekindled. So AI has really rekindled, you've seen it with the ads, you've seen it with the music that we're doing, has rekindled my love of making music. And one of the reasons that it did was because, so if we go back literally 15 years ago, when I was writing music for money, I was actually doing music for, in terms of writing music for TV shows and all that sort of thing, and doing soundtracks. And I had this idea that what I wanted to do was create a fake sort of, band, right? Not dissimilar from what the Gorillaz were, right? So sort of you never saw the band, you never saw the artist, you never, it was sort of like this. And in those days, I was really thinking I would sort of create this thing and trick people, right? And sort of, create this sort of mysterious band that would exist. And I actually, I had a name, which for some of you who know me in some social media circles, you'll even recognize it. My name was Bobby Zacks. And, I was going to create this band called Blue Shag, and it was going to be this amazing, wonderful thing. And so I started doing all these songs, right, for this thing. But I don't sing, and I don't play guitar, and I don't play drums. I can do all of that stuff on keyboard. Like I can do sampled stuff, and I can do drum machines, and I can do all that kind of stuff. And so the music was always not quite there, where, for songs, because I couldn't put vocals to it, and I couldn't really afford in those days to hire a vocalist to sing to the songs or afford studio time, honestly, because in those days you needed to go into a studio to actually record because the technology hadn't really caught up yet from a consumer side. So here we are 15 years later, 2025, and ostensibly, the technology caught up. So I've started playing with it, and I created this character. Now, this, as you've heard me say on the show, this is where I wrestled for a long time because of the tension with AI and everything, and what's going on with other artists and content and all. Trust me, I'm well aware of all of it. So what Suno did, which is the technology platform, the AI technology platform, allowed me to do was, and this was only, by the way, available I think in February it came out, January or February, when they launched what's called Suno Studio, where you can actually upload your music and basically either have it cover the song. In other words, it will stay strictly to what you've written and basically just re-instrumentize it, and or add vocals to it, or you can have it just use it as sort of inspiration and do something completely off of it, right? So there are sliders you can do. So what it enabled me to do was basically to take all this music, this hundreds of little music snippets, some of them complete songs, some of them literally just atmospheric stuff that I did for TV shows, some of them, literally experiments, and basically put them in and construct the actual songs that I always had in my head with the lyrics that I'd written, in some cases 15 years ago, and actually add vocals to it. So that's what I've been doing. I created this character. Her name is Lyla Ray Hightower. Is well, she's a character that I have come to really, really enjoy. And so I'll take you through one song here just for the process, so you can understand what the process sounds like, and then I'll play you the final stage. So it comes in 3 steps, right? So step 1 for this is to upload my original song. So let me play you like one of the original songs here. It's a song called The Long Road, or excuse me, The Long Ride. And here was the original from 2008 that I wrote that actually got picked up by a couple of TV shows and stuff like that. So this is this one. And pay attention to listen to the melody of the guitars. And you can hear how crappy it is, because this was my equipment back in 2008.
And this is what you like put on SoundCloud and.
Correct. This is on. I put it on SoundCloud, and I had it on, and it got. I put it into my library. I got signed up with a library that basically made music marketing available to TV shows, and so I got a bunch of deals with MTV on like Pimp My Ride and what's the reality show with all the kids? Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore, yeah.
So they picked up it, and it's all the music that you hear, like literally as the titles are playing and stuff like that. Yeah. Total background music. So then, okay, so that's the first thing. So then the step 2 is I upload it into Suno. I upload that song, and I have it do a cover. And I ask for the cover in a particular style. And in this particular case, I said I want it because I started to build a style for Lyla Ray. And so I said, okay, I want this in a country, sort of a country rock with a little bit of Texas twang, and but a cover song. No, and this is what it ends up coming back with. After a few, I had to play with it, So it doesn't. It wasn't the first time. This was like maybe the 3rd or 4th sort of thing that I ended up liking. But this is what it came back with. And you can hear the same guitar melody being played there. And I had it slow it down. I had to slow down the music a little bit.
Yeah, but you can hear it. I like that.
Yeah, you can hear it, right? And it added the piano bit, which I eventually took out because I didn't love it. It was a little too lush for me. I wanted it a little raw, and I wanted it a little more country than it came in.
I like that. I'm walking into the Bellagio right now. Yeah. I can feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then I take that. Then I take that cover, and I take my lyrics, and I have it construct a final song. So I took all my lyrics, took it from the music, the music that it had created, had to do a cover of that, but now with lyrics. And when you do lyrics in Suno is when you can really put structure to it, like verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, and you can put it all in there, and you can basically structure the song the way you want it to structure. So again, 4, 5, 6, in this particular case, it was quite a few prompts later. It finally came to the final version of the song, at least in rough version, that I liked. I then take that, and it allows me to download all of what are called stems, which are basically the drum track, the guitar tracks, the vocal tracks, etc. Those are the stems. I pull all of that into Pro Tools, and I mix it the way I want it to be mixed, right? So I take all those things. And so this becomes the final song. And I'll play a little bit of this for you. This is the final song that actually exists now out on Spotify and all of that.
Dust on your heartbeat, that shade of wild you never quite outgrew. Even lying still beside me. I can feel the trail calling you through. Tonight the sky looks like a story. A friend we lost keeps whispering your name. I watch you staring out the window. You're here with me, but chasing something far away. And I know you love me in the only way you know how. With one hand holding on and one hand reaching out. Baby, I won't ask you to decide. Some hearts were made for staying, yours was made for the long ride.
Nice.
I particularly like that chorus. I'm
amazing.
very pleased with that chorus. The hook there and the way it came up. I mean, those are my words, obviously, and it took me a while to get to the chorus that I had sort of in my head, but there were some surprises there for sure that it added that I really liked. Right, so all of that. So then, okay, so I've been working on all of that. Then I started to think about the visuals and all of that, and started using by the way, the new Nano Banana stuff with Gemini blows away anything ChatGPT does image-wise.
Really? I've heard great things.
Yeah, wow. It's so basically I could use Gemini to create. So I spent way too much time trying to create. Can you pull up on your browser? Go to Lyla Hightower.com. I forgot to load that in.
Hold on.
Go to Lyla Hightower.com
because that'll be while I do this.
That's the website. Hightower.com. Yeah. And so I really spent a lot of time on the visuals to get her the way I had her in my head. And so this is the front page of the website. And so some of that's human created, like the logo is me, but the background there on her is that banner is there. And so if you click into photo gallery, you'll see a bunch of images that I've created of her.
Oh
so
my gosh.
So that's Lyla. That's Lyla
Come
singing.
on.
It's
amazing.
Yeah. So that's and then that one in the lower right is this, that was the sort of the root, the source image of all of source images, right? And it's pretty good. I have to say, it's pretty.
And that was done with Gemini.
That's done with Gemini, right? And so if you scroll down a little more, there's my other favorite, which is basically her in a cowboy hat, and then the sort of moody picture of her in a guitar. Sort of that's Lyla. So then I started doing. I wanted to do at least one music video for one of the songs. That basically I would then, have a complete thing to put out on Spotify, on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And so just to walk you through the process there. So here's step 2 of the video song, which is called Sweet Phoenix Dawn. And so that is, this was this is step 1, the original from 2007. I wrote this song. And it was called Sweet Phoenix Dawn. And I wanted to write a Halloween sort of themed of a vampire riding across the desert. I was watching the True Blood, if you remember that, that show. Sure. I was totally inspired by that show. Anyway, so this was the very first song I wrote that was called Sweet Phoenix Dawn. My equipment got a little better.
What year was this?
This is 2007 or 2008. I ended up doing this song quite a number of times to get it the way I wanted it with the drums.
Got like a Seven Nations Army type.
Yeah, it was very rock and roll.
Yeah.
So that's step 1, and now I'll play you a little bit of the video of Sweet Phoenix Dawn, and now that'll bring it brings the images with the music together, and this is one of my favorite songs of the groupings that are now available. So here we go. Here's Sweet Phoenix Dawn video. you go. That's the
They're
Sweet
really
Phoenix
impressive.
Dawn for you.
That's
so
really
yeah, fun
congratulations.
stuff.
That's
yeah,
that looks like a lot of work.
It's a ton of work. It is so much fun. So I'm now we're live. So Lyla Ray Hightower is live on Apple Music, on Spotify, on YouTube Music, on Amazon Music. I mean, I have all of the bases covered. There's an EP called The Long Ride. And then there's one single, which is probably my favorite song of all, which is called It's a Good Way Home. And that's probably my song. So if you want to go listen to that, please, I would welcome any listening. And it's all, obviously, if you have a Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that, it's not, it costs you no money. Yeah, so it's been a ton of fun. It's the learning curve has been steep in terms of how do you get your music distributed? How do you get it out there? It's not like podcasting. It's a whole lot of numbers. It's a whole lot of infrastructure, and it's not an easy thing. So for content creators and the music, I've learned a ton. And if there's anybody out there who have questions about this stuff, I can regale you with all sorts of like what I've learned over the last, and I'm going to write about it at some point, all the things that I've learned. But yeah, that's it. I'm having fun, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
It's good stuff, man. I'm impressed. And we'll put all the links in the show notes so people can get easy access to it. But
yeah,
I guess the revelation here is that besides the tension that you've talked about a couple times with the whole thing, it's that you would have never done this without the new technology, without the AI. You'd have never made the next step. And
that's right.
I guess that's what the beautiful thing is, because this is your music, but you'd have never taken it to the next level.
Yeah, I feel I'm getting more and more okay with it because it's my melodies, it's my lyrics, and it's my music that it's based off of. And it feels very much like what I'm doing is not dissimilar from the sampling and or like you can buy the samples of Phil Collins playing drums, right? And you can literally on a keyboard, you can be Phil Collins, the sound of Phil Collins playing drums. And if you can come up with a great drum lick, you can sound like Phil Collins. And so it feels very much like that, where I'm using AI to provide the instrumentation. And the only one that sort of sits in that sort of tension for me is the vocals, right? I get that, right? But the vocals, honestly, are the most important part of the whole thing, because once you create a character, what the technology is really great at, as you'll hear in the music, she's got a groove, right? It doesn't sound robotic. There's really, I've listened to this music very loud in my head, and I can hear that it's good. It's really, really good. But at the same time, you go, okay, but there's a reason it's good, right? And then there's a reason that it's been trained on all of this data that's out there. So it's still not, the tension still isn't completely gone for me, but it's much less than it was, right? This, to me, she's a character. I'm not trying to, even on the about page of the website, I talk through that she's a character. She's real. I don't think I'm not trying to present her as real or as a singer or whatever. My only goal is that, in much the same way that I'm hearing others in Nashville and LA using Suno to do demos of songs that songwriters are using Suno to do demos of songs so that they're actually submitting full demos to artists to perform. That's my only hope here, is that somebody real wants to do the song. That would be great. That would be great. I don't have designs on making Lyla Hightower a #1 artist or anything, right?
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah. So it's just,
but making her like a character.
It's marketing your writing.
It's right. That's exactly it. It's a fictional. It's almost like an alternate way to have a novel, right? In other words, I'm building a story behind her as a character, and she's got a character arc, and she's got a background, and totally fun to write that story, and then present it in a non-linear way, or presenting it in a sort of musical, So it's just a different way to tell a different story.
Okay. All right. Well, you were nice enough to give me a sneak peek of all this.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I've listened to the album. It's really good stuff. I would just compel anyone to go out there, especially if you like
country music. Yeah, you gotta like country music.
It is. Yeah. And I played it for my wife, and I said, you're gonna love this, because she's a big fan of Shania Twain. And I'm like, I mean, this is right in that area of Shania. So really, really good stuff. Congratulations. I'll finish off the show with my two things, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
I have a marketing loser, which is, I don't know if you've seen this week, but Salesforce and Mark Benioff, the CEO, they have been discussing
mulling the change name.
Yeah, they've been mulling the idea of possibly changing their name to Agentforce. And I think this is just dumb. And the reason why I think so is it's too early. We don't even know if the idea of an agent is going to stay. And it's very similar to what happened when Facebook moved to Meta.
Yeah.
They did that for the metaverse, which they've since basically disbanded the whole operation of metaverse, and they're left with Meta. So I would just say to Mark and the team, just wait a little bit, or just go with Force. Just go with if you want to do that, you don't have to have anything forced. Everybody will know who you are if you have to change the name, because I know you're more than sales, and that's your concern, because everything's going to AI. So anyways, I would just say, please stop.
Well, here's the punchline to that is they spent millions of dollars, not even 5 years ago, figuring out the brand of Salesforce. That's when they came up with all the little cartoon characters, and because nobody knew what Salesforce did. Right. And so that their big problem was that the normal Tom, Dick, and Harry didn't know what Salesforce was or what they did. Even the savvy people didn't know what they did. So they spent millions of dollars into the Salesforce brand to create all the cartoon characters, to create, all of the different forces that they now have, Dreamforce and all everything Force, so Mark is known for being mercurial, for sure. And this may only be that. This may be him having sort of a bad day and really wanting to just change the name, and basically getting out to the news. But if this is serious, this is just the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. Just wait.
Yeah.
He's like, what's the hurry? You're fine. You're doing fine.
You're doing fine.
Fine, Mark.
Right.
Just wait a little bit.
Right.
My commentary, of course, I have to bring it up whenever I can. But thankfully, I didn't have to, because my friend Dave Hertig sent me a short video that our friend Kara Swisher put together, talking about her and Scott Galloway's commentary when they were talking about Warner Brothers and Netflix and Paramount Skydance and all the things going on. So what she was talking about is there are clear, huge streaming conglomerates being created. We see that in front of us. We just talked about it. And some of these players are going to be left out if they don't do something. One of the ones she talked about were Apple and Disney. And she actually said there's a possibility of Apple and Disney coming together. I actually don't see necessarily Apple buying the whole of Disney, but I can see something happen where that streaming business, that Apple TV Plus or whatever they call it now, and Disney Plus gets together to create something and join forces there. So I just want to say, it's out there in the ether.
Yeah.
It's out there. We're talking about it. It's a thing.
I'm reminded immediately of the Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
And there's a chance. And it's happened. And thank you, Kara, for bringing up my point. I started up 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It may happen.
There you go. There you go.
Stronger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, there we have it. Yeah. I would say good luck this week with the Browns, but it's kind of over, right? You're just sort of like testing people out.
Well, the season's over, but right now, so this is a very important 4 games that we have.
Yeah.
Because Shedeur Sanders, our quarterback, has been named the starter for the end of the year.
And he should, as he should. He's still awful, but he needs to grow. Yeah, he can grow.
He had a every week he's gotten better. Every week he has absolutely gotten better. First quarterback, I think first rookie quarterback in history to do like 350 yards passing, three touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown running. I mean, he led the team in rushing and passing. I mean, it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do. None of that matters outside of the fact that the Browns need to go into the season next year not drafting a quarterback, and hopefully somebody, and it's Shedeur in this case, could be the possible quarterback of the future. So we have some needs at almost every other position. So it would be nice not to go in and draft. We drafted 2 quarterbacks in the draft last year. We love our quarterbacks.
Sure,
we love our quarterbacks that last 2 games.
Yeah.
So anyways, how about you?
There you have it. Well, the Cowboys have a big game this weekend.
You got to win out.
We have to win out. But the Philadelphia Eagles seem to be doing us a favor and completely.
They're not good.
Again, they're not good.
The Eagles are not good.
They're not good. But they have to also lose 2 for us to actually do anything. So just win out. That's all I care. If they go 10-6 and
10-6-1, I think they're in.
I don't actually. I don't think 10-6-1 they're in. They're certainly not in if they don't win the division. I think 10-6-1 is. I think it's the one it's the tie that's going to screw it up.
No, it's the tie that's going to get them in because Philadelphia is going to end up 10-7.
Maybe if they do,
they'll win the division. They'll win the division. That's it. They're not. There's no chance.
They have to lose 2 to do that. They have to lose 2 to do that, and they got the Commanders and the Giants next. So it's like. Anyway,
did you see Jalen Hurts actively throwing it to the other team? By the way, I've never seen one person have 2 turnovers in the same play.
That's right. He threw an interception.
I'm like, this is the greatest. It's the greatest play I've ever seen. I bet you played it over and over again. It's like, this is amazing.
Oh, this is so fun. Yeah, it was so fun to watch him throw an interception and then try and tackle, and he gets the fumble and then fumbles it again. It's like amazing.
If you haven't seen it, folks, it's worth watching. Unless you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you just forget
exactly. That. Exactly. Sad Sirianni face is my favorite face. Yeah.
That's so funny. All
right. Thank you all. Thank you all for indulging me. I hope you found it at least a little bit interesting. We will be back again next week, of course, with a regular show and all of that. I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, send me LinkedIn, communicate, smoke signals, whatever you like. I'd love to hear what you think about all that stuff. And by the way, when we see you next, it will be a regular show. And before we see you again, just remember it's your story to tell. Tell it well. We'll see you next week on This Old Marketing. Hey, thanks a lot for making it this far in this week's episode, and thank you all for being a part of This Old Marketing. You can check out all the show notes of what we talked about today at thisoldmarketing.com, and it's also where you can leave us a review or a voicemail. We need those reviews and comments on whichever platform you follow us on. And if you haven't followed the podcast, please go do that and make sure you catch the latest and greatest episodes every Friday morning. We're on Apple and Spotify and all your other favorite podcatchers, of course, but we'd love it if you went over and subscribed to us on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. youtube.com/@thisoldmarketing. We'll see you again next week, folks, with another episode of This Old Marketing.